in life, we often pursue provision, whether it's money, opportunities, relationships, or recognition, before understanding the purpose those things are meant to serve. But in the order of divine and natural law, purpose always comes before provision. This is a critical truth that transforms how we see what we already possess. Everything in creation exists because there was first a reason for it. Nothing exists for its own sake. The sun was created to give light and sustain life. The tree exists to produce fruit and maintain ecosystems. Even the smallest insect plays a role in the larger purpose of the environment. Likewise, you were born with a purpose already determined, and everything you need to fulfill that purpose has been either placed within you or placed around you in seed form. You are not a biological accident, nor are you under-resourced. The challenge is not lack of provision, but often a lack of understanding your purpose. The reason so many people feel unfulfilled, under-equipped, or constantly in need is because they are trying to acquire provision without anchoring themselves in purpose. But provision was never meant to lead purpose. It was designed to respond to it.
When you identify your assignment in life, the resources you need will begin to reveal themselves.
Until then, even abundance can become a burden. There are people with money who have no direction. There are individuals with talent who have no discipline. There are those with connections who lack vision. Resources in the hands of someone without purpose can lead to waste, misdirection, and eventually frustration.
But when you discover your purpose, it becomes like a magnetic force that pulls provision toward you.
You no longer chase things blindly, you attract what aligns with your assignment. A powerful example of this principle can be seen in the life of someone who becomes a medical doctor. Before they receive medical tools, access to a clinic, or even the license to practice, they must first establish the purpose of becoming a doctor. Their entire journey begins with a decision to pursue healing as their life's work. Only then are they granted access to classrooms, mentors, books, internships, and finally, the instruments of their profession. No one hands a scalpel to someone who hasn't first committed to the calling of surgery. The scalpel doesn't come before the decision. It comes because of the decision. The same is true in life. Until you define your purpose, you will not properly recognize, appreciate, or utilize the provision already in your possession. What you currently have is not trivial, it is tailored. It is connected to your destiny. That skill you overlook, that connection you downplay, that experience you try to forget, all of it is part of the equipment for your assignment. Purpose gives meaning to everything in your life. It helps you interpret pain, recognize opportunity, and steward time wisely. The reason many people discard what they already have is because they haven't yet seen it through the lens of purpose. A slingshot in the hands of a shepherd boy seems like a toy until purpose transforms it into a weapon of deliverance. A jar of oil in a widow's house looks insignificant until purpose turns it into a business that sustains her family. Purpose doesn't just add meaning, it reveals hidden value. When you truly embrace the idea that purpose precedes provision, it changes your posture. You stop complaining about what you lack and start asking, what does this moment require from what I already have? You begin to live from within rather than from without. You look at your time, your gifts, your education, your network, your experiences, and even your failures and begin to piece them together with a sense of intention. You realize that nothing is random. Even delays are strategic. Even closed doors are directional. Provision may not always come in the form you expect, but living with purpose doesn't mean you won't have needs. It means you'll know what your needs are for. It brings alignment between who you are, where you're going, and what you're working with. When purpose is clear, provision finds its assignment. It is only then that what you have becomes enough to begin. You were never designed to start with everything, but you were always designed to start with something. That something is what you already have, and it is enough, because it was given in response to your purpose. Before you were formed, your purpose was known. And because your purpose was known, your provision was prepared. Backslash. Every accomplishment, success, and breakthrough starts with a seed. The idea of a seed is not limited to a literal physical seed. It represents the potential for growth, the foundational idea, or the first step toward achieving something greater. Your seed is already in your possession. The challenge is recognizing it and having the faith to cultivate it. When we talk about seeds, many people often focus on what they lack, the tools, the resources, or the opportunities that they believe are necessary for success. However, what is the talent, the ideas, the connections, and even the small resources you have today are seeds for tomorrow's harvest. The key is understanding that seeds do not look like the finished product. They often come in an understated form, requiring work, patience, and vision to realize their potential. Consider the concept of a farmer planting a small seed in the ground. At first, it's barely visible. It's small, and at times it seems insignificant compared to the vast field that the farmer dreams of.
But in that seed is everything needed for an entire harvest.
The seed carries the DNA of the fruit it will one day produce. However, the farmer must first plant it, nurture it, and wait for the right conditions to allow it to grow. If the farmer only looked at the seed and thought, "This is too small, I need something bigger," the harvest would never come. The seed must be planted, and it must be given time and attention to manifest its full potential. Purpose and vision in life are often hidden in seed form. What you have today may seem insignificant. Perhaps it's a small idea, a modest skill, or a limited resource, but that seed holds the potential to produce everything you need to fulfill your purpose. When you begin to value the seed you have, you will start to see the immense potential within it. Small beginnings should never be despised. What's crucial is that you start and that you are intentional about nurturing what is already within your reach. Many people fail to realize the importance of starting with what they have because they are too focused on what they don't have. They look at others who seem to have it all, the resources, the connections, or the right circumstances, and they feel like they are at a disadvantage. However, those people who appear to be ahead of you are also starting with something. They might have started with a seed that they cultivated over time. Your seed may not be the same, but it is unique to your purpose and your journey.
Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, did not begin with grand laboratories or enormous budgets.
He began with small, simple experiments.
His first idea was a seed that many would have dismissed, but Edison saw potential in the tiny components that others overlooked. He continued to refine and nurture those small beginnings, learning from his failures and using them to fuel the next experiment.
It wasn't the lack of resources that stopped him. It was the ability to maximize what he had in the moment to make something great from what seemed small. You too have a seed in your possession. It might be a passion for teaching, an ability to communicate, a knack for solving problems, or an experience that others would consider insignificant. Your seed may not look like much to anyone else, but it is a seed for your success, your growth, and your future. But to unlock its potential, you must believe in its value and be willing to invest in its development. Starting with your seed is not about waiting for the perfect time or the ideal circumstances. It is about using what you have right now. Many people are waiting for the right moment to act, but they fail to realize that the right moment is not some distant magical event. It begins with the decision to act on what you already possess. If you have a talent, start using it. If you have a skill, begin practicing it. If you have a small idea, begin working on it. Every great movement in history started with someone taking small, imperfect steps based on what they had at that time. It's also important to understand that the seed doesn't always look like the fruit it will eventually bear. A small idea can grow into a large business. A passion can evolve into a life-changing career, and a personal skill can become a platform for impact. The key is consistency and focus. The farmer doesn't give up on the seed because it doesn't grow overnight. Similarly, you must continue to tend to your seed, whether it's refining your skills, gathering more knowledge, or building relationships, so that over time it produces the harvest you desire. What you have today might not seem like enough, but it is sufficient to begin. Your seed is in your possession, and the more you cultivate it, the more it will grow into something greater. Every success story is filled with moments where the seed of an idea, talent, or resource was the starting point for everything that followed. If you focus on what you have, nurture it with care, and trust that it will grow, you will see that the seed you possess today is the beginning of something extraordinary. The question is not whether you have enough, it's whether you are willing to recognize and invest in the seed in your hand. In the journey toward fulfilling your purpose and achieving your dreams, one of the greatest obstacles you will face is distraction. Distraction is not just a minor hindrance. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. They come in various forms, from social media notifications and the constant barrage of news to the endless comparisons we make with others. Each distraction, whether subtle or overt, pulls us away from our true calling and leads us down paths that take us further from where we are supposed to be. Distraction is the enemy of focus. The more we focus on things that do not align with our purpose, the less energy and attention we have for the things that truly matter. It is the silent thief that steals our time, energy, and ultimately our progress. Many people spend a significant portion of their lives chasing after things that are not in alignment with their destiny, simply because they're distracted by the wrong things. When you become distracted by external noise, you lose the ability to hear the still, small voice that guides you toward your true path. The world constantly offers you shiny objects, instant gratification, fame, and attention, all of which can easily distract you from what is truly important. One of the most powerful tools we have as human beings is our focus. Focus is the ability to direct our attention and energy towards something with single-minded determination. Focus is not just about concentration, it is about prioritization. It's about choosing what deserves your attention and making the decision to block out everything else. Without focus, the opportunities and resources that could help you move forward are scattered, diluted, and wasted. Distractions are designed to pull you away from the things that matter most, and their ultimate goal is to keep you from achieving your potential. To understand the danger of distraction, consider the story of a person with a clear vision for their life. They may have a dream of starting a business, writing a book, or becoming an expert in their field. At first, their vision is clear, and they are passionate about the work. But soon they are bombarded with distractions, invites to events, phone calls, emails, social media notifications, and even the opinions of well-meaning friends and family members who suggest alternative paths. The initial excitement wanes as the person begins to chase these distractions, thinking they are opportunities when in fact they are merely detours from their true path. Over time, they find themselves in a cycle of busy activity, but without any real progress. They start to feel unfulfilled, frustrated, and exhausted, not because they're not working hard, but because they're not working on the right things. Distraction does not always come in the form of overly negative or harmful things. In fact, distractions often come in the form of things that seem harmless or even beneficial. You might be distracted by good causes, by things that seem important but that are not aligned with your primary purpose.
This is why clarity of purpose is so important.
When you know your purpose, you are able to make decisions that align with your vision.
You become selective about what you give your attention to.
Distractions, no matter how attractive, become easier to avoid when you are clear about where you are headed. One of the most powerful ways to fight distractions is to develop a mindset of discipline.
Discipline means making the conscious decision to stay focused on the long-term goal, even when the immediate circumstances are tempting.
It means saying no to the things that may pull you off course. Discipline is about building habits that move you closer to your purpose. It's about creating routines and systems that protect you from the distractions that seek to derail your destiny. Without discipline, distractions have free rein to infiltrate every part of your life. Element of overcoming distractions is setting boundaries. You must be able to define what is non-negotiable in your life. These boundaries could involve protecting your time, limiting your exposure to negative influences, or deciding how much of your energy you are willing to invest in things that do not align with your purpose. Boundaries allow you to create space for focus and concentration, giving you the freedom to pursue what truly matters. Another essential strategy is to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who understand and support your purpose. When you are surrounded by people who share your vision and hold you accountable, distractions become less appealing. You find yourself in an environment where your purpose is reinforced and where distractions are minimized because everyone around you is focused on the same goal. The people you associate with can either help you stay focused or contribute to the distractions in your life. Choose wisely. Furthermore, distractions often arise when we are unclear about the next step or when we feel uncertain about our journey. Uncertainty breeds distraction. When you are unsure about where you're going, you begin to look for external sources of validation or comfort. But clarity of purpose is the antidote to this uncertainty.
When you are sure about your destiny, when you understand your assignment, you become single-minded in your pursuit.
Your actions align with your purpose, and distractions no longer have the power to pull you away from your course.
Distraction is often linked to fear and insecurity.
When people are unsure of their abilities or afraid of failure, they tend to engage in activities that provide temporary relief or validation, rather than taking the bold actions needed to advance toward their goals. This is why it is crucial to address the underlying fears that contribute to distractions. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown all feed into our tendency to get distracted. Confronting and overcoming these fears allows you to focus on what truly matters and pursue your destiny with confidence and courage. Distractions are more than just inconveniences. They are intentional forces that seek to keep you from your purpose. They lure you away from your destiny, leading you down side roads that prevent you from achieving the greatness you were meant to experience. To overcome distractions, you must develop clarity of purpose, discipline, boundaries, and the right environment. Focus on your purpose, protect your time, and remain determined, and you will find that distractions lose their power over you. Vision is one of the most powerful forces in life. It is the ability to see beyond the present moment and understand where you are headed. Vision gives direction, purpose, and clarity. Without vision, people wander aimlessly, unsure of the next step. But when you have vision, the world around you transforms. You start to see the hidden potential in what others might overlook. Vision clarifies value because it helps you understand the true purpose and significance of everything you encounter on your journey. When you are guided by vision, you begin to see everything in relation to your goal. The people you meet, the experiences you have, and even the challenges you face become stepping stones rather than obstacles. Vision helps you recognize the value of things that would otherwise seem insignificant. It allows you to connect the dots between where you are today and where you need to go.
The ability to see value in what you have, in your surroundings, and in your resources is rooted in vision.
A person without vision is often blind to what is available to them. They are distracted by surface-level appearances and fail to recognize the hidden treasures right in front of them. Imagine a person who dreams of starting a business. Without a clear vision, they might see an empty office space as just a room with walls, furniture, and a door. They might walk past opportunities for partnerships or fail to notice potential clients simply because they're not attuned to the value these things hold in the context of their vision. But for someone with vision, that same empty office space is seen as the birthplace of something great. It's not just an empty room, it's the foundation for a thriving business. The partnerships and connections they form are seen not as random relationships, but as building blocks for a larger purpose. Vision helps you connect the dots and understand the value in everything that crosses your path. The power of vision lies in its ability to create meaning in seemingly ordinary circumstances. It gives depth and significance to things that would otherwise go unnoticed. A person with vision understands that everything in their life has a purpose and a reason for being there. They see challenges as opportunities for growth, setbacks as lessons in resilience, and even failures as valuable feedback.
Vision transforms the mundane into the meaningful.
It turns obstacles into stepping stones, and what seemed like a limitation becomes a platform for innovation. Having a clear vision also helps you prioritize. It allows you to make decisions based on what is most aligned with your ultimate purpose. People without vision often get caught up in distractions and detours because they're unclear about what they want to achieve. They may chase every new opportunity, follow every trend, or try to please everyone around them. But vision gives you the strength to say no to things that do not align with your mission. It helps you focus on what matters most. When you're clear on where you are going, it becomes easier to make choices that bring you closer to your goal. You don't want to waste time on things that are not in alignment with your purpose. You learn to value your time, your energy, and your resources because you understand their worth in the context of your vision.
Vision does not only clarify the value of things in your external world, it also helps you understand your own worth.
When you know where you're going, you begin to see yourself differently. You realize that you are not just a passive observer of life, but an active participant in a grand purpose.
Vision calls you to rise to the occasion, to tap into your potential, and to become the person you were meant to be.
People without vision often struggle with self-doubt and insecurity. They may not recognize their own capabilities because they lack the clarity to see how their unique gifts and talents fit into the larger picture. But with vision, you begin to see yourself as a vital part of the plan. You realize that your skills, talents, and experiences are not accidental. They are divinely orchestrated to help you fulfill your purpose. This awareness brings confidence and drives you to develop your abilities and use them for the greater good. Another aspect of how vision clarifies value is through the lens of opportunities. When you have a clear vision, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. They no longer appear randomly or coincidentally. Instead, opportunities are recognized as parts of the bigger picture. What might have seemed like a chance encounter, a minor opportunity, or a small event takes on a whole new level of significance. You begin to see how each opportunity can help you move closer to fulfilling your vision. You are no longer waiting for a big break or a perfect moment. You recognize that each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the realization of your dream. Vision also aligns your relationships with your purpose. As you grow in clarity about your mission, you naturally start to attract people who share your values and support your vision. You begin to recognize the value in people not just based on what they can do for you, but because they complement and contribute to your purpose. Relationships become purposeful. They become tools for mutual growth, collaboration, and achievement. Instead, your relationships are intentional, and you create an environment where everyone is aligned toward a common goal. The absence of vision creates confusion, frustration, and lack of direction.
People without vision often struggle to make decisions or move forward because they lack a clear sense of what they want to achieve. They may experience anxiety, uncertainty, and a feeling of being stuck because without vision, it is hard to understand where you are going or why you are going there. But when you have vision, everything changes. Vision brings clarity, and clarity brings value. You will begin to see the worth in everything, and the path forward becomes clear.